The following is a live sports event featuring the Abernathy Antelopes or Ladylopes and is under the direction of AA Sports Properties in partnership with Abernathy ISD. This broadcast cannot be reproduced or retransmitted without the written consent of AA Sports Properties. Tonight's broadcast is made possible by the support of our generous sponsors: MC Master Roofing and Construction, South Plains Auto Ranch, First State Bank, Nutrient Ag Solutions, Abernathy First Baptist Church, Storm Guard, Clark Riley Insurance, Able Funeral Home and Flower Shop, Plains Land Bank, JC Refrigeration, Spradlin Spray Service, Vista Bank, Lambert Insurance, The Junkin Farmers Market, Ty Horsford Realtor, and DB Media. Buckle up and enjoy all of the exciting action with the Abernathy Antelopes and Ladylopes.
Rolando. This time he takes it himself untouched into the end zone. Rolando Martinez from 1 yard out. And the Abernathy Antelopes strike first. Comes McKayla Marshall off the dribble. Mid-range jumper. Marshall gives Abernathy the lead. Snap, he hands it to Rolando. Burst of speed. Up the middle. Dagger! Touchdown! Superman! Now, second. Rolling away. In the corner, Flores. It's good! Flores the steal! And the three-pointer! This time runs down. Flag comes in. The punt is blocked. And it's going to be an Antelope touchdown! Barring the penalty. As it's Cash Garcia who blocked it, scooped it, and scored it. But
And good evening, Abernathy, Texas, and good evening, fans of the Abernathy Antelopes and Ladylopes. It's Wednesday night, it's 8:30, and we are outside the box. Voice of the Antelopes, Ty Horsford, alongside Chance Rocha this evening. And Chance, another episode and another exciting football game to talk about for the second consecutive week. The Abernathy Antelopes get it done in dramatic fashion late in the ball game, as the Lopes earn an improbable 42-41 win on the road Friday night in Farwell to win their second consecutive game, now 2-2 on the season, a 500 record, and they're going for 3 in a row on Friday night for homecoming.
Yeah, 3 in a row, and most importantly, back into a winning record for the season. Now, that's big, especially going into your off week and then going into district play. If we can get into district with a 3-2 record, that definitely has a better taste in your mouth than going in with a 2-3 record for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a game that we could probably spend an entire hour talking about what transpired on Friday night in Farwell. First of all, a much better experience than Sunray. I'll go to Farwell any day of the week. It was a good experience. A game that featured very little defense. I mean, you had some big defensive plays, but in all, a game that featured 962 yards of combined total offense between the two teams. Farwell actually outgained you by about 16, 17 yards, but both teams right up near 500 yards of total offense in the ball game. And Chance, it was almost like a carbon copy of the Littlefield game the week before, in the fact that you take a lead into the locker room. It was a little more back and forth in the first half than Littlefield was, but you take a 28-21 lead into the locker room, and then for the first quarter and a half of the second half, the wheels kind of come off for a little bit, but then you find a way to rebound late.
Yeah, you did, and it was kind of, we did go in with the lead at halftime, but if you remember, Ty, it was kind of scary. They almost got that 2-for-1 right there at the half, and we ended up scoring, getting the ball back and scoring again. And that's how we were able to kind of go up ahead and go into the half with that lead. But it was a back and forth. There wasn't a bunch of big stops. And ours were the big play, which we hadn't seen. We had a lot of those big plays, to Duvall and to Shadden. early. But what we really saw that was beneficial from the Lopes was we didn't give up the big play, but it was a lot of sustained drives from Farwell.
Yeah.
But credit to their quarterback. He played very hard. We talked about it during the broadcast. There was some calls that may have gone their way from the refs, but, we talked about it there too. Control what we can control. And
we decided that you were the nice broadcaster and I was the harsh broadcaster.
and it was hard, and it's hard when you face games like that because you want to make sure that the games are called fairly. Number one, and you have to try to stay let your emotions out of it for the kids, for the coaches, for everybody, because you can complain or get upset, but at the end of the day, the call is what it is. And if you start to, go over there and say things to the ref, that may just cause you more problems than it would good. So credit to our coaches for keeping the kids even keel, even if some things didn't go our way, and for battling all game long, honestly.
And what a performance. And we're going to talk about the performance of multiple young guys in the lineup, your underclassmen getting it done. But what a first half alone for sophomore quarterback Jagger Wiley. Really, Chance, his second or third consecutive game where I feel like he's played pretty well. He's getting a little more consistent. He had 3 touchdown passes in that first half, or actually 4 touchdown passes in that first half, 3 of them to Darian Duval, who's also an underclassman. And Wiley finishes with 6 total touchdowns on the night. He passes for 5 and rushes for 1. And so a big night for Jagger Wiley.
Yeah, a huge night for him. And I think, talking about the upperclassmen kind of the underclassmen kind of stepping up, against Littlefield, it was the upperclassmen that kind of rallied us late and made some big plays. And, against Farwell, it was those underclassmen that really said, hey, we're going to step up. We took some big shots early, and they paid off. Those big plays, Duval to kind of get us started, and then another big play kind of to follow it up. And he was the go-to guy there from the beginning. And credit to the coaching staff. They kind of saw that they were going to key on Rolando early, and they did. But we took advantage of them letting us set back there and just pass the ball, and Wiley made some great throws, and we had some receivers make some great plays too.
So you take that 28-21 lead into the half, Chance, and you're feeling fortunate. You're feeling pretty good. But just like Littlefield did the week before, and credit Farwell, they're a good football team.
They are.
They rattle off 20 unanswered second-half points and really left you in a place where you felt dead in the water. I mean, you're midway through the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden you look up and you're trailing 41-28, and all the momentum that could be in Farwell's favor was. But you get the ball back with around 3 minutes to go, down 41-28, thinking, okay, we've got to score quick, and then we've got to have some magic happen.
Yeah,
well, you go 75 yards. Maverick Shadden is big on that final scoring drive. Several 10, 12-yard routes to him. You also had a couple to Duval on that drive as well. And you end up scoring a touchdown, 27-yard touchdown pass to Dre Minfield. And it was Dre's only catch of the night. But I tell you what, in that final 3 minutes, I don't know how many times we said Dre Minfield's name because he catches the touchdown pass. Extra point good. You make it 41-35. But again, really your only shot is to get an onside kick.
Yep.
A very costly, and I don't think we talked about that enough. Farwell's coach gets flagged for an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty because he was out near midfield arguing something, a call that the official had made. He gets flagged, so you end up kicking the ball off from midfield on that ensuing drive. And it was an onside kick, Chance, but it was more of kind of a squib kick that I don't think Farwell was really prepared for because it just bounces free all the way down around the 10-yard line. And, of course, it's Dre Minfield. He runs down there and pounces on it for the Antelopes.
He did, and I think, you talked about Farwell's coach. I don't know what he was super upset about. I don't know if it was a catch, but at the end of the day, they called it a catch. There's no replay booth. There's no flag you can throw. There's kind of no point of arguing it, but it definitely benefited us. And credit to Minfield. He did that last week against Littlefield as well. It was a little bit different of a kick, but being able to get down there, and when he pounced on that ball, I think there was 2 other Farwell guys kind of draped over his legs, and he kind of crawled for it and was able to snag it. But not only does he do that, and that leads to about a 3-yard touchdown run by Jagger to put us tied 41-41. And, we didn't talk about it a lot either, but the extra point, That's a big deal.
Those are huge in high school because those are not gimmies at the high school level. We see a lot of those missed.
Yeah, you do, and then not only to miss them just when it's a regular extra point, but to go ahead to be the game-winning extra point, as you would say. Credit to Maverick just stepping up there and kicking it like it's just any other extra point, and I'm sure that's what the coach
6 of 6 on extra points.
Yeah,
that's huge.
That is, and I'm sure the coach was like, just go out there and kick it, and then for them to come back, get the ball, and once again, who's the guy that seals the deal? They drop back next play and try to throw a pass, on the far side, and Minfield's there, and he's able to make the interception and kind of seal the game for us.
Well, and I remember turning to you, Chance, after we scored the touchdown and go up 42-41. I look up at the scoreboard, and there's literally still like a minute 8 left.
Yep.
And I said, Chance, the way tonight has gone, there is way too much time left on the clock because the way Farwell had moved the ball, they had plenty of time to make things interesting down the stretch. But like you said, Minfield squashed that in a hurry. I believe it was the first play, if not the second play of the drive. Armstrong throws that pick to Minfield. And Chance, there were some standout performances on both sides of the ball for the Antelopes. We mentioned Jagger Wiley. He did throw a couple of interceptions, but more than that, 20 of 30, 288 yards, 5 touchdowns passing. He also rushed for 1. You'll take that kind of performance from the sophomore every single week.
Yeah.
That's a huge night for Wiley. And then we've talked about Darian Duval. Really feel like he had kind of a breakout performance for him. We knew the capability was there. He's just a good athlete.
He is.
But 8 catches, 141 yards. Rolando, you mentioned they kind of bottled him up early, but if you get bottled up and carry it 24 times for 184 yards, because I'm with you. I mean, as the game wore on, you're like, they're holding Rolando in check pretty well, but he still gets his yards. And then Maverick Shadden, we talked about, 7 catches, 88 yards. Just lots of offense for the Antelopes.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of speaking on Rolando, the majority of those yards came right there before the second half ended. He got that big 50-yard carry to kind of go down and then get that last touchdown right there before the half. And so, credit to him for continuing to run. But what I just love to see on offense is the fact that you throw the ball 30 times, but you're still running it 24 times.
Yeah.
Pretty balanced attack.
Absolutely.
And not getting away from the run, but not leaning too much on the pass either. And so great performance on offense. Defense, we said it earlier, you didn't give up the big play, but we did let them kind of sustain drives, but it wasn't for lack of, commitment and effort from the defensive front. Jackson Arrington, Jake Harty, Kelton Tarver, they were putting pressure on the quarterback all night. Their quarterback was good. He extended plays like crazy, and he did a lot of things kind of similar to Lujan, but not as big of an arm, and maybe not as many skilled players around him, but very similar where he would get out of the pocket and go back and forth. But, credit to those guys for putting pressure up front. Malachi Walters had a great game. I think he had about 6 or 7 tackles, ended up with an interception and a fumble recovery. And that interception wasn't just a pass across the middle. That was actually their quarterback rushes out of the pocket. He tries to throw it, and Jackson Arrington bats the ball down, and Malachi Walters was able to snag it out of the air. And he had back-to-back turnovers recovered too as well. And then, we kind of talked about Dre earlier having that big play on the kickoff return, recovering that onside.
And Chance, it's a game we talk about that there was lots of offense, not a ton of defense. And I don't know if you call it just big defensive plays or maybe at times offense is getting a little sloppy, but you've got 7 combined turnovers in the ball game. It was not a clean played game from that aspect. I mean, you have Farwell turn it over 4 times. That's about the only thing that stopped the Steers offense. And then you turned it over 3 times as well. And so you just had a lot happening on Friday night in Farwell.
You did a lot happened, a lot of back and forth, a very exciting game. I talked to some of the young men, and I said, well, was it fun? Was it exciting? They said, well, yeah, it was fun that you get a win. He said, but we want to put it away early. And I think that's something that they're learning, playing that complete game. And we'll kind of get into that more later on. But, what I credit some of the success was I was excited to see those youngsters step up and really,
sure.
On the big stage, kind of like you said, not only for Duval, but for Minfield and for Wiley, kind of having a little bit of a coming out party for those younger guys. You still have your veteran guys that were there doing a lot of work, like I said, especially on defense, but it was exciting to see them make those plays in big situations.
It really was. And Chance, for the second consecutive week, you show the fans that this football team has grit They've kind of got a never say die attitude, and I love that. I think that is a characteristic that a good team has to have. I do think on the other side of that, you can't make it a habit giving up 20 unanswered points to start the second half after a solid first half. You've got to find a way to string 4 quarters of consistent football together, react to adjustments after halftime, different things like that. But again, you find a way to get the job done for the second straight week. That's what's important. But against some of the teams you're going to face in district play, you're not going to be able to do that week in and week out.
No, for sure you're not. And against certain teams, you may be able to get away with it. But when you play those higher caliber teams, teams that we're expecting to be very competitive, your new homes and possibly your new deals posts, they're 3-0 or 4-0 actually, beating undefeated Slayton teams. So not really knowing what to expect from some of those teams with it being a new district, but also knowing that you don't want to get into district play and always having that. That's a lot of
pressure.
A lot of pressure. And also, but the plus side of that, Ty, is to know we know how to battle.
Yeah.
We know how to face that adversity. So this is something they can look back on when they're in those game situations later on to say, we've dealt with this before. We've been there before. We've been, down by so much, or we've let a team come back and being able to, from the coaching side of things, to say, hey, guys, this is nothing before. We've had a 7-minute drive to win a game.
Yep.
We've been down by 2 touchdowns with
Absolutely.
3 minutes left, and we won a game. So just being able to encourage them and say, hey, we've done it. We've been there before. And so that's something that's exciting to take from it. But for sure, on our side, and I'm sure all the fans in the stands and the kids, maybe let's put it away in the third quarter, early fourth quarter.
Not that Coach Wiley has a whole lot of hair to begin with, but I think he probably has a little bit less after the last couple of weeks. But again, all smiles, all laughs. The Antelopes get the 42-41 win over the Farwell Steers. Again, 1 game left before district play starts. They've got Friona coming up Friday night for homecoming, a game they're probably going to be favorites in, but we'll talk a little bit more about that ball game at the end of our program today, Chance. But we're going to take our first time out here on Outside the Box, thank a couple of our sponsors, and then we will come back and take a look around Abernathy ISD. So stick with us and we'll be back.
Clark Riley Insurance in Abernathy has been helping people with their property and farm insurance needs for many years. When it comes to insurance, you want to rest easy knowing you have a good rate with good coverage, and at Clark Riley Insurance, we can offer that peace of mind. We are proud to be locally owned and operated and offer a variety of insurance options to meet your needs. Give us a call today or visit us on the West Service Road in Abernathy. We are longtime supporters of the Antelopes and Ladylopes.
Are you looking for a new ride? Look no further than the South Plains Auto Ranch in Abernathy. We offer in-house financing and offer a wide selection of used cars. If we don't have what you need, we will help you find it. When buying a vehicle, you want local people you can trust, and that's exactly what you'll find at the South Plains Auto Ranch in Abernathy. Located on the south end of town between the West Service Road and Avenue D, we are your used car one-stop shop. Give us a call today at 298-2200. And as always, we are a proud supporter of the Antelopes and Ladylopes.
And welcome back to Outside the Box. Thank to our sponsors, Ty. Our look around AISD is going to be a little bit different this week. No interviews this week. We got a lot of things happening and a lot of things to catch up on, but a little bit different. But we're going to jump right in, talk about some sub-varsity football. Friday Night Lights are what everybody gets excited about, but those 7th, those 8th grade, and those JV boys, they played hard this past week, so we kind of want to highlight them. 7th grade had a tough game against a good little Farwell team.
Yeah.
They actually they didn't come out with the win, but they battled. They lost 18-6. Maddox Waldrop did have an 8-yard touchdown run, but like I said, they played very hard and competed all game long. They just had some things that didn't fall their way, but that's one of those tough things that you got to learn early on when you're playing junior high sports.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably not going to win them all, so it was kind of hard to take it on the chin, but I think they're excited to get back in the win column this coming week against Friona. 8th grade continues to stay undefeated. They get the win 14-10 over another good Farwell team. Kingston Awful had a couple big catches and a big sack. Aiden Villarreal had some good rushes, and Cutter Johnson had a 10-yard touchdown run as well. And JV came up with a big win against and some big defense. They won 48-0 behind a huge defensive performance and they were led by Colt Micheletti. He had 5 total touchdowns, 155 passing yards, and 4 touchdowns through the air, and he had 10 carries for 100 yards and a rushing touchdown. So things are looking good for the sub-varsity around Abernathy ISD for sure.
Yeah, it is. And Chance, again, I know we talked about how impressed we were with Farwell, their varsity team. They really have a good program all the way around. Outside of that lopsided JV ball game, you see 7th and 8th grade Farwell, the good tests for the Antelopes, and then, of course, JV gets the big win. But just a good week of football all the way around for all of our teams against good competition. And cross-country rolls on, Chance. You've got Thursday night lights, you got Friday night lights, and then you've got Saturday morning, whatever you want to call that.
Early morning wake-up calls on Saturday.
Oh, man. Sure. But waking up to go run is shout-out to all of those athletes that participate in cross-country, because that takes grit, that takes determination, and that takes a commitment. And just talking to Coach Carlisle this week about her cross-country team, they've really dealt with some injuries. Some different things happened to some of their key runners. Feels pretty confident that they'll get those runners back for the district meet. And so that's kind of been the goal through the last couple of meets. It's not to push anything. It's not to force anything, because all of these pre-district meets are to prepare you for the district meet. The district meet is what matters. They did compete. The team did compete this last weekend in Littlefield. They've got one more meet, Chance, before they have a week off, which I'm sure will be very welcomed. And then they're in Canyon this weekend. Then they've got their off week the following Saturday before the next week. Their district cross country meet at Mason Park there in Lubbock. And again, just that's a bad word as far as I'm concerned, Mason Park, when it comes to cross country. But hopefully those girls can get healthy. Hopefully they can get a couple of boy runners added to the group to make a team to compete in district. But again, those cross country runners doing a great job.
Yeah, for sure. So volleyball was also in action, Ty, this past week. Varsity opened district. They had a 3-0 loss to Plains last week, and they also fell short to Olton earlier this week as well. So still battling, still playing hard. So go out there and support those varsity girls. JV also dropped both of their matches, but they're still competing, and that's what Cat wants from them. Want them to compete, want them to go out there and show up every week, and that's what they've been doing. So, but positive things to look forward to. 7th and 8th grade, they continue to do well, and they won both their matches this past week over Tahoka and Post.
Tell you what, those 7th and 8th grade volleyballers, they're winning lots of matches,
For
and
sure.
so the future of Lady Lope volleyball is looking bright.
Well, it is, and I think even those varsity girls, you just have so much young talent on that team, and they're still learning.
The varsity team is freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah, I think we have one senior, and credit to her for coming out and wanting to play. She's really never done any practicing except for this year, and so I'm excited for it, and that's why we say go out there and support them and show them some love. Some of that Abernathy Antelope magic will probably be out there on that volleyball court here pretty soon, Ty.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big week in Abernathy.
It is.
You've got all the different things going on. You've got Thursday night lights. You've got Friday night lights. You've got volleyball. You've got girls getting ready for cross country, but it's also a homecoming.
It is.
Homecoming week 2024 is upon us. The Freona Chieftains are coming to town, a Chance. But with it being homecoming, obviously one of the biggest traditions, not only in Abernathy, but any high school across the state. It's especially a big deal, I feel like, in the smaller schools. You have a homecoming court, if you will. You've got your four princesses vying to be crowned homecoming queen, and then you've also got a representative from each class as well that gets recognized. And we wanted to spend a little bit of time recognizing those ladies and just kind of what they do.
So to start off, Ty, we have freshman Duchess Ellie Waldrop. Everybody probably knows her around town. She's big in sports. Ellie's she's on Lady Lope volleyball. She's one of those freshmen, those underclassmen that's on the varsity volleyball team and likely going to be on the varsity basketball team as well. She's also involved in FFA and a new program we have here in town called Antelope TV. So very involved in lots of various things around the community. Our sophomore Duchess is Natalie Maldonado, and she's a member of the student council. She's the reporter for student council, and also she's a member of the Spanish club, and she's also a returning varsity cheerleader, varsity track, and cross country. And she's also in Taffy, FFA, and one act play. And to finish off our underclassmen, we have junior Duchess Miss Kara Phillips. She's a third-year returning varsity cheerleader. She's also in the Antelope Band, and she competes in multiple FFA contests and things like that, agri-science fair, and different things. And she's a returning member of Taffy, and she's in NHS as well. And so shout out to those underclassmen, Ty, and I know you're going to kind of go through these senior princesses and highlight them as well.
Yeah, and just as we talk about these girls' chants, and I think it's a good representation of a lot of the students we have in Abernathy. They're involved in so much. They do so many different things. It's not just athletics. It's on and off the court. Yep. And I think that's a huge testament to just who these kids are. But yeah, we've got 4 princesses, and one of those will be crowned homecoming queen come Friday night. You've got a senior princess in Keely Abel. Keely, she has been a high school cheerleader for 3 years, and she's on the varsity squad for the past 2. She's also a member of the Lady Lope track team since her freshman year. She's also been a member of the Abernathy FFA, where she actually received her Green Hand chapter and Lone Star degree. That's huge for Keely. And they also made it to state in public relations last year. One of those great opportunities that FFA and 4-H offers. She's competed in lots of different ag competitions, horse judging, ENR. She was inducted into NHS her sophomore year, and so just involved in a lot. But Miss Keely Abel is our first princess that we are going to recognize tonight, and also senior princess McKaylin Marshall. You're going to know McKaylin probably mostly from her performance on the basketball court, as we're going to talk a little bit more about that after we kind of highlight some of this stuff. But she obviously enjoys playing basketball. She's got a best friend in her pit bull, Bruno, and love that. Very involved in her church as well. AAU basketball, Reckham U, she's very involved in that. She's maintained a 4.0 GPA throughout her high school, taking lots of dual credit courses, and she's also the Spanish club president, which is a good deal for her. And she's got lots of Division I offers to play basketball on the table. We're going to talk about what that looks like here a little bit, so stick with us on that. But just lots of honors. She's District 2-3A co-MVP last year, TABC, TGCA All-State last year, THSCA Super Elite Team for Class 3A last year, and the Lady Lope basketball team captain for 23 through 25. And so lots of accolades on and off the court for McKaylin as well. You've also got a senior princess in Aubrey Teal. She has been a big part of the Lady Lope basketball team and track teams all 4 years of high school. She received District Newcomer of the Year in basketball her freshman year, and first team All-District honors both her sophomore and junior years. Academic All-District her junior year, and was also a team captain for the Lady Lopes basketball team this last year and this upcoming year as well. Aubrey qualified for the regional meet her sophomore year in track in the high jump, where she actually placed 5th at the regional meet. And so senior princess Aubrey Teal. And then our last but certainly not least senior princess is Cameron Villanueva. Cameron, her activities at Abernathy High School include being on the varsity girls basketball team as well, the track team. Cameron, she made the all-tournament team for the Caprock Classic a season ago. She received the Fighting Heart Award for the basketball team, the Hustle Award, also academic all-district in basketball. She's also received an all-year honor roll throughout her high school career, and she was also voted class favorite for her sophomore year. She's currently the vice president of the senior class. She's a member of the National Honor Society. She's also a member of TAFE, Texas Association of Future Educators, and she serves as a student council member, also a part of Abernathy Student Advisory Committee, and so obviously Cameron involved in a lot as well. But whichever one gets crowned homecoming queen on Friday night, that'll be exciting for them. But whether it's Cameron, Aubrey, McKaylin, or Keeley, all very deserving of that, and all just they represent Abernathy at the highest level chance. And then you've always got the cute crown bearers, the little ones out there. And this year that is going to be Amari Garza and Brixton Marshall.
Yeah, that's a big deal for those youngsters for sure. Those two little ones, they get the crown bearers, they get to be out there on the field and carry those out there. So that's an exciting time for them as well. They get all dressed up and in their suits and their cute little dresses and stuff. So exciting for them. A lot of other alumnus activities happening this weekend, Ty. I know there's the all-school reunion happening, and I think most of that stuff is going on Saturday. So I'm sure if you're a part of that or want to learn more about that, I'm sure you'll run into somebody at the game and be able to find out some of that or reach out to somebody. And is it the X Student Association?
Yeah, find somebody in the X Student Association. They can give you all the info for that. But gonna be a fun week and fun weekend in Abernathy. Lots of people in town. And lots of people going to be at the football game Friday night, and should be a fun time for sure. And Chance, we kind of teased it a minute ago, but McKaylin Marshall, not only is it a big week for her because of all the homecoming festivities, she's a good basketball player.
She is,
and she's got numerous Division I offers on the table. And I don't care what classification you play ball, if you get D1 offers, you can play.
Yeah.
And she this week actually made a commitment and a decision, and she has committed to be a part of the Tulane Green Wave lady basketball program. And so congratulations to McKaylin. That is a huge honor, a huge opportunity for her to go and represent Abernathy well at the highest level of college basketball.
That's exciting. Like you said before, any time that you can go on and play at the next level, whether it's D1, D2, or D3, you're furthering your opportunity. You're getting an education, and I know that's something that is probably very exciting for her, very exciting for her family. So congratulations to her, and congratulations on the commitment to a good university at Tulane.
And I guess they're just stacking everything in this week to go along with homecoming. But also, and Chance, this is cool. Yep. We highlight all the things that we do on the court, FFA, 4-H, on the field. But I don't know that there's anything, I know there's not anything, and I know you feel the same way, more important than the faith for these students, the faith that they have in Jesus. And we've got a good group of Christian leaders, student leaders in our school system. And today, actually, and this is, I think, at least a statewide, if not nationwide. I'm not sure, but it's been around a long time. See you and saw you at the poll. We'll throw a picture up there so you can kind of see what it looked like this morning, bright and early on the Abernathy High School campus. But again, it's just an opportunity. And the cool thing about this, Chance, none of it is adult-led.
Nope.
Every bit of see you and saw you at the poll is student-led. Yep. And so it's just a time they come together. They pray for each other. They pray for the school. They pray for their friends. And they've got different students that lead them through that. So just a really cool thing that our students here in Abernathy get to take part in.
Yeah, for sure. And it's exciting. And, it is very much student-led. There is adults that are there that are helping out to kind of keep things organized and things. But
the adults cook.
Yeah, for sure. If there's food there, the kids will hang around a lot longer, right? But I just think it's exciting, like you said, not only is it important, the faith aspect of it, but for the kids to be willing and want to get there that early, to commit to, going out and showing up, not for, for each other and for the support, but just to show their faith and show the importance of that in their lives. And then, also exciting to have See You at the Pole. And then this evening they had Saw You at the Pole. So it's the same thing. They kind of come back around and talk about this morning and just have another get together and another gathering. And I know tonight my daughter, before I came to do the show, she was excited and she said, two great testimonies that were shared tonight at Saw You at the Pole.
That's cool.
And for her to come in and say that and to say, I kind of got emotional, Dad, just hearing that. And I was like, that's exciting, to hear testimonies from some young adults and some of our young high school students, and be willing and vulnerable to share that, just to show the impact that Jesus has had on their life for sure.
Yeah, and that's huge. That's what it's all about, Chance. And I think we both agree
100%.
that all the rest of this comes second to that. And so just a cool opportunity that those kids and students had to participate in that. So all that to say, Chance, a big week around Abernathy ISD.
It has been.
We'll take one final timeout. We will come back and we will wrap things up. Also preview a little bit that Friona ball game coming up Friday night. So stick with us. This is Outside the Box.
First State Bank of Abernathy has been leading the Abernathy area banking industry since 1909 and is a staple in the community. We offer a full scale of banking services at First State Bank and are proud to be locally owned and operated. At First State Bank, we value the relationship with our customers and want to see them be successful in everything they do. If you have any questions, you can drop by and see us at 402 9th Street or give us a ring at 298-2556. Everyone at First State Bank is cheering on the Antelopes and Ladylopes this season.
At Abernathy's First Baptist Church, our mission is to love God, love people, and tell the world. Our pastor is Damon Pierce, and we want you to know that you're always welcome at Abernathy's First Baptist Church. We meet for Sunday school on Sunday mornings at 9:30, followed by our worship service at 10:45. We offer kids and youth activities every Wednesday night beginning at 6 p.m. Come as you are and join us this Sunday. We'd love to see you. We are praying the Antelopes and Ladylopes have a successful and safe school year. And welcome back for one final time here to Outside the Box. Ty Horsford alongside Chance Rocha. Glad to have you with us as we kind of put the wraps on this 5th episode, Chance. Hard to believe we've made it 5 episodes in. And
we're still here.
And we're still here. You're still stuck with us. We're having a good time, so I think we may stick around a little bit longer.
It's been exciting. It's been fun.
But let's look ahead as the Abernathy Antelopes look for their 3rd straight win before heading into their off week to get ready for district play. They host the Friona Chiefs coming up Friday night at 7, as we've talked about, obviously, for homecoming. And it's been a tough start to the year for the Friona Chiefs. They are 0-4, so they're going to come in hungry for that first win, looking for that first win as they prepare for district play as well. And Chance, we talked about it, and sometimes it's a little bit hard to get information on these teams we play. Don't know if they've dealt with some injuries or different things, because you have a season opening game that they played Slayton, which is a much improved Slayton football team that their only loss is to Post. They take Slayton to overtime before the Tigers get that 42-36 win. But really since then, it's been a different story for the Chiefs as they were shut out by Spearman and Dalhart to the tune of 43-0 and 36-0. And then a really good Wellington team that's ranked pretty high in the state beat them 42-7. So I don't know if that's an indication of just really tough competition the last 3 weeks, or if they're dealing with some injuries or trying to figure some things out. But it's been a struggle for Friona.
Yeah, and it could have been a little bit of both. And like you said, we don't really know a lot of insight on them. What we were able to find is, the one lone bright spot that they've had has been their running back, Aaron Rosales. He has about 304 yards on the season on 28 carries. And most of that was in that overtime loss against Slayton. And so we don't know. He could have been the injury that they had, or they just may have faced some tough competition. I mean, we know what that looked like our first 2 games of the year.
Yeah.
And so, but you're definitely coming here hungry. They seem to be one-dimensional. They're probably going to line up and try to just run the ball on you. And so if we can stop that and stuff that up front with our big guys up front, kind of like what they did this past week, we may have a decent game and a game where we can put up a lot of points as well.
Well, really, Chance, and as far as Abernathy's concerned, I think you've got a really good opportunity to be successful if you can control the things that you can control.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, in a week like this, I would be willing to guess. I've never had a coach tell me this. I feel like they probably despise homecoming week because there's just lots of opportunities for external distractions, especially when you've got some young players that haven't been through it before.
For sure.
But again, just something Abernathy is going to have to navigate. And I think most importantly, in this final non-district tune-up chance is obviously you want to play well. You want to string together 4 consecutive quarters. Like we've talked about, you want to get the W, but you also want to stay healthy because going into district play, or right off the bat, you get new home, you get new deal, and you want to be at full strength heading into district play.
You for sure do, and you want that consistency throughout the game. But I would love to have a game where we're up, 35, 40 points, and you can pull some of those starters, let some of those other underclassmen and some other guys get some experience, because that's going to be key too going into a long season. On the back half, having some guys that have had opportunity to play on the field early, and not be thrown into the mix in the middle of district play, and they may not have seen as many snaps. But I think that would be something that would be good not only for our health to get some of those starters off the field, get them some rest, and then also, going into the bye week, getting some extra rest. But that's going to be important, but we want to come away with the win. If it's a hard-fought battle, I'll take the starters playing all 4 quarters as long as we're getting the W.
Sure.
But staying healthy and stringing together, like you said, four solid quarters, and continue to see the progress of those young players, and then to see some of that veteran leadership from some of those seniors that are on the team. And, it's exciting. It's going to be their last homecoming. It is a distraction, but it also kind of –
It's exciting.
Put some of those things into perspective of, this is my last homecoming game. It's going to be a packed house. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Everybody always comes out for homecoming, especially with it being the all-class reunion. You're probably going to have a lot of people in the stands. So if you're there, get there early. If you're not, be sure to check us out on Friday night, 6:45 for the broadcast. And so we talked about guys stepping up. We've seen some of that the past 2 weeks. So
lots of different guys.
Yeah, lots of different guys. And I think that that's something that we're learning a lot.
Yeah.
We went into the season knowing that it was going to be a lot of changes, and it's been exciting. Early on, we kind of talked about it. Those first 2 games, we were learning a lot about, okay, are we playing good competition? And we're still growing, and I think that's what it was. You go into that 3rd game, and it was like, this is the team we expected to see.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times off the air we kind of talked about that. I was like, this is the team that I was expecting to see, that I thought we would see, that just wasn't there yet those first 2 games. And you're playing good competition, so credit to them. But we've seen that team these past 2 weeks.
Yeah, we have. We have chance, and I'm still really glad you played Stratford. I'm glad you played Sunray, because I truly believe, especially if you can finish the season strong heading into district play, get a good spot heading into the postseason. Those are games that are going to pay off for you. Those are experiences that are going to pay off for you. Heck, you may get another shot at Sunray.
Yeah.
That's quite possible. And so I'm glad you do that, because it just gives you a lot of different experiences as a football team, I feel like. And really, Chance, one thing we haven't mentioned, Friday night against Freona is going to be something offensively for Freona that Abernathy hasn't seen a lot of. The teams they've played so far have thrown it around some. That they run the ball. They're balanced. They're going to get a heavy dose of Freona rushing the football.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that Freona is completely one-dimensional, but I do feel like if you're able to minimize the damage that they do on the ground, it's going to start up front. The big boys up front on that defensive line. But if you can manage to kind of keep the run game in check for Freona, I think you've got a really good opportunity to get to 3-2.
Yeah, I think we do too, and I'm excited for it. And I think something that, we had teams that did run the ball, like Littlefield did in the second half, but it was different. They weren't lining up and handing it off. It was more so a drop back draw or the quarterback getting out on a scramble. It wasn't a team that was just dedicated to the run. And so I think that, our big boys up front are up to the challenge, and I'm excited for that, because you going in with the W and then going into the off week on a high of that's going to carry over in a district. And we'll preview that more in the coming weeks, but you're going to know really who is going to kind of take the district probably in those first 2 weeks when, after new home and new deal. I mean, that's going to tell you a lot early. Post may be the sleeper. We were picked to win the district. Post might be the sleeper. They're 4-0.
Then you have Olton that might spoil some people.
Yeah.
I mean, they won a couple big games early. I know they got trounced this last week.
They did.
But again, a team that you can't sleep on.
Yeah, you can't, and it's going to be a different level of competition, a different, from what we're seeing. It's not going to be a Childress, it's not going to be a Canadian, it's not going to be anything like that. But they're going to come out and compete all 4 quarters, and that's something that you can't take anybody lightly. But we're going to know early on for sure in those first couple weeks of district play where we stand.
Yep, it's going to be a fun few weeks coming up here in Abernathy on the gridiron. Next week on our show chance, we will recap Freona. We'll talk about that some. We will look ahead and preview what the district will look like heading into district play. And we'll also have some, hopefully, can line it up this week and have some student interviews for you as well. I know you guys will enjoy that.
Yeah.
So should be a fun next couple of weeks here on Outside the Box. And until Friday night at 6:45, Chance, we'll say good night.
God bless.
And go Lopes.